G'day, Hugh here from videsign.com.au, a design company based on the Gold Coast in Australia, and welcome to my latest tutorial. Today I thought we'd have a look at Luminar 2018 and using it to edit raw images. Now it's a simple to use program, it's affordable, it's laid out nicely, and it really is powerful when it comes to what you can do with raw images. And it really is in line with products like Lightroom and Photoshop when dealing with raw images. So let's get into Luminar 2018 and have a look at some of the things that it can do.
So I've opened this image up in Luminar 2018. It's a shot of Zagreb in Croatia at sunrise. You can see the sky is quite nicely exposed, but the foreground and all these buildings are very dark and not well exposed at all, but we can fix all that up using this program. So I guess the first thing we might do is just sort of straighten these things up a little bit, because it's sort of leaning to the left there and there. I mean, the horizon isn't a straight horizon anyway, but we just want these main sort of protruding buildings to sort of straighten up a little bit. So the first bit to come up to is tools up here at the very top, and we can use the crop tool to straighten it up a little bit. That won't be all that we will do, because that will just give us a bit of a straighten on the image. So then say crop, we're happy with that. Now there's two options. One, you can go with predetermined filters that have already been set up for you, and I've got these ones loaded in my program here, and you've got options you can choose from: basic, dramatic, outdoor, portrait, street, and so on, and they will give your image a particular look. So if I chose this particular one, which is tonal compressor, it's already obviously given us a much improved look. And that will give you a few different adjustments, and it's done with the raw development and saturation environments, and then we could work from there. But I do prefer to go through it all manually myself. Now, to start adding filters, to switch the filters on and off, or these predetermined template ones, you just select that button there. So that switches them off, that switches them on. So if it's not lit up in yellow, you know that they're off. Lit up in yellow, they're on, so switch them off. And you do that by going to this button here, which is Add Filters. Now, it's all done with layers, and we have here the original layer, which is this original image that we shot, raw image. Now, I always do on the original layer the raw develop, and just leave the original layer to that. So what we have at this stage, you can go along the same lines as Lightroom and bring down the highlights like that, and open up the shadows and really get that looking much better. So it's opening up those shadows to really improve our underexposed shot there, but not change the sky too much. Now with this I would also just add a little bit of clarity. And now we have straightened up these buildings a little bit. We can come into transform, and it's got our transformation options, and we can play around with the vertical to straighten up the images just a bit more. Just maybe just rotate things slightly. That's going to mean a bit more of a crop, because we're losing image area, but we can also alter the X and Y offset to move the image from side to side and up and down. We don't really need to do anything with the X offset, but the Y offset, we would like to bring the image down. I can never remember which way to go, so it's just trial and error. So taking it to the left will bring the image down, and just improve things a little bit there. So when we're done with that, then we can come back up into the tools and recrop it to take into account the grey that we've got at the sides and the bottom, and not at the top, because we have adjusted the position of the picture. So that looks pretty good. So you can again say crop to that. Buildings are at least a bit straighter now. It's still on a bit of an angle there, but sometimes you have to compromise. Now, if we come back to the filters, so you can switch not switch them on and off, but display on and off by clicking on the Add Filters button there. Click on it, it displays your filter options. Click off it, and they disappear. It does infringe your workspace a little bit if you have them on, but you need them on to choose what you're going to do. So we now have done the adjustments of the development to the original layer. You come up to this plus button here and add a new adjustment layer, and now we can do any number of adjustments to this picture without actually affecting the original layer at all. So again, go to Add Filters. Now it's always good to start with Ascent AI filter. It does a lot of stuff for us just by boosting that a little bit. Now it's an artificial intelligence filter, so it does algorithms to work out what it's doing, and that gives us a bit of a look to that. So there's the eye that we've got here, which can switch the filter that we've just, or any filter that we've put on and off. So that's with it off, and that's with it on. Very subtle but nice improvement to the picture. And then we have up here another eye, which if you hold on shows you the picture before, after, and a side-by-side before and after as well, and that you can slide it from side to side, which is all pretty cool. So switch that off. Okay, so that is a good first filter. Now this is a sunrise, so I like to come to the golden hour filter and just bump up the golden hour aspect of the sun rising. Now that really does create a really nice look to it. So if we have a look here with it off and on, it's really very golden. Brings out the pinks and magentas in the sky, and all sorts of subtle lighting in the photo get enhanced. Very nice. Now we have some greenery in this picture, and there is a filter called Foliage enhancer. Now you have to use this quite sparingly because it can really affect the greens in your picture. If you pump it right up, you can make the greens look really, really green. And sometimes that will look too much. So I think in this case the greens are quite dull, so it'd be nice to just improve them a little bit, just with this tree here. And there's some greenery in the background, but it's not really getting a lot of light on it, so it's going to be hard to pump too much more colour into that. But that foliage enhancer just adds that green element. So maybe that's a little bit too much. So back it back to about 20. But it just improves that green look in any green aspects of your picture, which is normally plant-based, and it's nice to see green plants. Now here's a really cool feature, but one that is quite hard to get right, and I can't say that I can tell you that I always get it right, but it's called sun rays, so it allows you to add sun rays to your picture. Now if you click on the place sun centers spot, that will allow you to then move the center of your sun around. Now it's nice, it is a cool little filter because it actually hides the sun behind objects in your picture, just like the sun really would be if it was coming up. Now where would the sun be coming up? I'd like the sun to be coming up somewhere behind these buildings here. Now what you can do is, what I like to do is I like to warm up the rays so they're not white, and warm up the sun's center as well so it's more yellow. Now it's probably too high in the sky there, so it'd be nice to bring it in to just about that sort of spot and have the rays sort of streaming through the buildings, and you can see them going off up into the sky there. Now they're probably a little too strong for this. If we were to switch it off and on, you can see it really warms up things a lot in the picture and reduces some of the exposure as well. So I think if we would bring it right back, and then you come to randomize, and it can give you a few options of how the rays will shine through. Now the penetration is how much it, how well hidden behind objects it is and isn't. So you can see that if I pump the penetration right up, it becomes part of your foreground, front of your building. So you want the penetration to be down low. Bring the amount back up. You don't lose the penetration, but now you can see subtle sun rays coming through and through, shining up behind the building almost. So I'm reasonably happy with that. Let's have a look at the before and after now, and with the sun rays off. Okay, so it started to create a bit of moodiness to this now, but at the sunrise. Now you can collapse and expand your individual filters any which way you like, and sometimes I don't mind just collapsing them all and expanding ones I'm going to work on, just to create a little bit more space on the side here. Now, options that we've got. I think I would normally do a little bit of work now with the microstructure, which just is the small structure item, so it's not actually going to be a big structure HDR effect, but enough to give you a little bit of the effect. So we'll just pump up the microstructure a little, see how that looks. Okay, so it's just given us a bit more of a HDR fill, especially in the sky there, and subtly on the buildings. So next, I notice, yeah, just looking, it was quite a obviously underexposed image. We've got quite a bit of noise in there. So we have the denoise option. It works on luminosity, obviously, and if we pump that right up, you can see the noise really does suddenly disappear out of the picture. It's a really powerful filter, that one. So, but without it, quite noisy. Put it in, and it removes a lot of that noise. So you got your zoom options, and you can make it fit the screen, and that gives you a full screen look at it. So I'm just thinking the sun is nice coming through, but maybe just a bit too strong still. So again, we just bring the amount of that just down, so it's more of a subtle feel about it. So again, before and after. Picture of Zagreb, beautiful Zagreb in Croatia. Now, I'm not going to do too much more on this because this is just the basic introduction to luminosity and the basic adjustments we can do to improve our pictures. So the raw image, it's got everything in it, but it just needs to be enhanced, and we've brought it out to this much. So the last thing I would do for this one, and in the future tutorial we'll have a look at some more advanced features that we can apply, but I just would put a vignette on to focus our attention. So choose the vignette filter, the amount all the way down, the feather all the way down, and I'd make it smaller, which is about that sort of size, and bring the amount right back, and then feather it right back as well, and just add a little bit of inner light to our picture. So there we have some basic edits in Luminar 2018 to give us quite a striking difference in our photo. I mean, we had this to begin with, we've now got it looking like that, and it is very nice. We'll just switch that off there so that you can get the whole picture, and when you see before and after, compare the two. It's quite a different photo. So I hope you've enjoyed the quick run through of Luminar 2018 and some of the filters that can be used to improve your raw files. Tune in next time for a few more on this amazing program, and I'll show you a few more advanced features that we can use to improve these photos. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.